There's a pattern I see over and over, especially in people who are self-aware, emotionally regulated, intelligent, and capable. They don't struggle with effort. They don't struggle with insight. They don't struggle with discipline. They struggle with receiving. And it's not because they're blocked. It's because their nervous system is trained to close loops early. Let me explain. Money is not a problem loop. Most of us are trained to think of money like a problem. How do I get it? How do I make it consistent? How do I stabilize it? Problems close when they're solved. But money doesn't operate like a problem. Money operates like a circulating state. And here's where things go wrong. What loop closes are really good at. If you're someone who figures things out quickly, stabilizes chaos, explains patterns, restores equilibrium, gets it fast, your nervous system is optimized for resolution. Resolution feels safe. Resolution means I can stand down now. That skill probably kept you alive at some point. But here's the conflict. Money doesn't arrive through resolution. It arrives through sustained openness. The moment you close the money loop. Watch closely. This is subtle. Money or opportunity starts to move. You feel expansion. Then your system says, I understand this now. Okay, this works. I've got it figured out. What's the next step? And just like that, the loop closes. Not because money left, but because your system marked the task as complete. Why this feels calm, but stops flow. Here's the tricky part. Closing the loop doesn't feel anxious. It feels calm. It feels mature. It feels regulated. And that's why it's so hard to spot. But money requires something different than calm resolution. It requires calm availability. Use the 3 loops of money. There are 3 loops people move through with money. Loop 1, effort. I did the work. Most people stop here. Loop 2, validation. Someone sees this. Something responded. Many people get uncomfortable here. Loop 3, receiving. Can I let this arrive without managing it? This is where high-functioning people exit. Because loop 3 doesn't give instructions, it doesn't require action. It requires tolerance. Why your system exits early? Your nervous system learned. Safety comes from control. Stability comes from closure. Openness requires vigilance. So when nothing is required, your system says, we're done. But in money terms, that's not done. That's just the opening. What staying in the money loop actually feels like. This part is important. Staying open doesn't feel exciting. It feels quiet, neutral, uneventful, slightly unfamiliar. And that unfamiliarity often gets misread as nothing's happening. But that's the receiving window. How you accidentally shut it down. Here are the common shutdown behaviors: explaining the win too soon, assigning the money immediately, planning before arrival, teaching before integration, saying I've got this internally. Those are all closure signals. How to stay open instead. You don't force openness, you remove closure cues. Here's how. 1, replace closure language instead of this worked. Use this is working. Instead of I figured it out, use I'm staying with this. Language tells the nervous system whether to stand down or stay available. 2, leave money unassigned. The moment money arrives, the mind wants to allocate, protect, plan, optimize. That collapses the loop. Practice letting money exist without a job for a while. Unassigned money circulates longer. Is before you explain. The moment you explain money, you exit into analysis instead. Feel the expansion in your body. Stay with it for 30, 90 seconds. Do nothing. That trains your system to tolerate receiving without action. The rule that changes everything. Here it is. If it feels calm and nothing is required, do not exit. That moment is not emptiness, it's availability. Your instinct will be to leave, stay. Why this is hard for good people. People who close loops early are often responsible, reliable, emotionally steady, used to holding systems together. You were trained to end things cleanly, but money doesn't want to be ended. It wants to keep moving. The refrain that keeps the loop open. Say this internally when you feel closure coming. Nothing needs to be resolved for money to keep flowing. Then don't add anything. Final truth. You don't need to attract money. You don't need to manifest harder. You don't need to fix your mindset. You need to stop exiting the room right as money enters. Money stays where it's allowed to remain unfinished. And the skill you're learning now is an effort. It's staying open without interference. That's the receiving loop. And once your nervous system learns it, flow stops feeling fragile and starts feeling.
Nothing is wrong with you. Not your lack of motivation. Not your inconsistency. Not the way you freeze, pull back, or go quiet. Those weren't failures. They were adaptations. Your nervous system learned how to survive environments that ask too much, moved too fast, or felt unpredictable. So it did what it was designed to do. It adjusted. When pushing felt unsafe, it slowed you down. When expressing felt risky, it made you quiet. When rest wasn't allowed, it learned how to stay alert even while exhausted. That wasn't weakness. That was intelligence. Your system didn't break. It protected you. And here's the part most people miss. The behaviors that helped you survive before don't automatically disappear when the danger is gone. They linger until safety is felt consistently. So if you find yourself procrastinating, zoning out, or feeling numb, that's not self-sabotage. That's a system asking, is it actually safe now? Healing doesn't begin by forcing change. It begins by letting your body update its information. Not through affirmations, not through pushing harder, but through repeated experiences of no demand. Moments when nothing is required of you, where you're allowed to exist without proving, fixing, or performing. Regulation feels boring at first, quiet, almost empty. Because your system has been used to urgency. But over time, that neutrality becomes spacious. And in that space, energy returns on its own. Motivation doesn't need to be chased. Clarity doesn't need to be forced. They emerge when your system finally believes it doesn't have to brace anymore.
Most people think calm should feel good immediately. Like relief, like safety, like peace. But for many nervous systems, calm actually feels wrong at first. And there's a reason for that. If your body spent years in stress, urgency, problem solving, or emotional scanning, that state became familiar. Not healthy, familiar. The nervous system doesn't organize around what's good for you. It organizes around what it knows. So when things finally slow down, when there's no crisis, no tension to manage, no emotional fires to put out, the body doesn't automatically relax. Instead it asks, wait, what am I supposed to be doing right now? This is why calm can feel empty or boring or unsettling, or like something bad is about to happen. Not because calm is dangerous, but because your system hasn't learned it yet. For years, activation meant survival, alertness meant safety, tension meant control. So calm feels unfamiliar, and unfamiliar gets interpreted as unsafe. This is the part most people misunderstand. You're not regressing. You're not dissociating. You're not losing motivation. You're recalibrating. The nervous system has to learn that nothing happening doesn't mean something is wrong. At first, calm feels quiet. Then it feels neutral. Only later does it start to feel peaceful. You don't force calm. You allow your body to experience it in small doses. You notice, I'm safe right now, even if it feels strange. That's how safety becomes familiar. That's how regulation becomes permanent. Calm isn't the absence of life. It's the absence of unnecessary survival. And once your system trusts that clarity, creativity, and presence come back online naturally. Most people think lack of motivation means something is wrong with them. But what if it doesn't? What if your body isn't failing you? What if it's responding intelligently? Everything is frequency, including your nervous system. When your system has learned that effort equals danger, rest looks like avoidance, and stillness gets labeled as laziness. But laziness isn't a biological state. Protection is. If your body has lived through pressure, chaos, emotional demand, or constant expectation, it learns one thing very well: slow down to survive. So when you try to push through and nothing happens, that's not resistance. That's your system saying, I don't feel safe enough yet. Notice this. True laziness feels indulgent. Protective shutdown feels heavy. One feels playful. The other feels frozen. That frozen feeling isn't a lack of discipline. It's a frequency mismatch. Your mind might be ready for growth, but your body is still scanning for safety. And the body always decides first. This is why forcing motivation doesn't work. You can't out-hustle a nervous system that's protecting you. Regulation comes before productivity. Safety comes before expansion. When your system feels safe, energy returns naturally. Focus returns naturally. Desire returns naturally. No pushing, no forcing, no self-judgment. So instead of asking, what's wrong with me? Try asking, what does my system need to feel safe right now? Because the moment safety becomes familiar, movement becomes effortless. Not because you tried harder, but because the frequency changed. You were never lazy. You were listening to a system that learned how to survive. And now, you're teaching it how to live.
Most people assume that if nothing is moving, something is wrong. But that assumption comes from a nervous system that learned progress only happens through pressure. And that's not actually true. Feeling stuck is often what happens right before integration. When your system has been in survival mode for a long time, motion feels familiar. Struggle feels familiar.
fixing feels familiar. So when things finally slow down, when there's no fire to put out, your body doesn't register relief. It registers uncertainty. That's when the mind steps in and says, why am I not motivated? Why does this feel flat? Did I mess something up? But here's the reframe. Stuck isn't failure. Stuck is pause without threat. And many people have never experienced that before. Your nervous system might be recalibrating. Your identity might be updating. Your system might be learning how to exist without urgency. That can feel uncomfortable, even boring, even wrong. But discomfort does not equal danger. If you're not spiraling, if you're not collapsing, if you're not in chaos, then nothing is broken. You may simply be between versions. Old patterns no longer fit. New ones aren't fully online yet. And that in-between space can feel like nothing is happening, when in reality, everything important is happening quietly. So if you feel stuck, don't rush to fix it. Don't label it. Don't force momentum. Just ask, am I actually unsafe, or just unfamiliar with calm? Because many breakthroughs don't feel like breakthroughs. They feel like stillness. They feel like neutrality. They feel like nothing. And that's often the moment your system is learning. I don't have to struggle to exist anymore. Pause is not failure. Stillness is not regression. And being stuck doesn't mean you're behind. Sometimes it means you finally stopped running.
There is nothing you need to do right now. Nothing to fix. Nothing to check. The flow is active even when you're still. Abundance doesn't require effort from your body. It doesn't need monitoring. It doesn't need your attention to continue. Momentum is already established. What's moving forward continues on its own. You don't need to push to stay included. You're already in the loop. Nothing needs to be held. Nothing needs to be watched. The system knows what it's doing. It doesn't need supervision. You can rest without losing anything. Rest does not interrupt the flow. Nothing is being lost. Nothing is falling behind. What's aligned remains aligned. What's active stays active. The loop is stable. It does not depend on effort. It does not depend on awareness. Your body is allowed to stand down. Your mind can soften. The flow does not leave when you relax. It continues because it's already in motion. There is no urgency. There is no requirement. Just continuation.
Most people think they're resting, but they're actually frozen. And the nervous system knows the difference, even when the mind doesn't. Rest is safe stillness. Freeze is trapped stillness. They can look identical from the outside, but they feel very different inside the body. In rest, the body is not braced, breathing is easy, even if it's shallow. There's no urgency behind your thoughts. You could move if you wanted to. You just don't need to. Rest feels like heaviness without tension, stillness without pressure, quiet without effort. Nothing is being held back. In freeze, the body is paused.
but not relaxed. Muscles may be tight even while you're lying down. Breath can feel restricted or stuck. Thoughts loop, stall, or go blank. There's a sense of waiting, even if you don't know for what. Freeze feels like stillness with vigilance, restlessness under the surface, exhaustion that doesn't restore. The key difference isn't movement, it's choice. In rest, movement is available. In freeze, movement feels inaccessible. In rest, the nervous system is saying, I'm safe enough to pause. In freeze, it's saying, I can't fight, I can't flee, so I'll shut down. This is important because freeze is not failure. It's an intelligent survival response, and trying to relax harder only reinforces it. The body doesn't exit freeze through force, it exits through safety cues, not motivation, not positivity, not pushing. Safety. Sometimes it looks like noticing your feet on the floor, gently moving your fingers, orienting your eyes to the room, letting the breath happen without controlling it. No performance, no goal. Rest happens when the nervous system trusts that nothing is required of it. So if you're lying down and still feel tense, foggy, or stuck, don't judge it. You're not bad at resting. Your body just hasn't received the signal yet. And when it does, you'll feel the difference. Because true rest doesn't collapse you. It restores you.
Most people think motivation disappears because they're lazy, distracted, or undisciplined. That's not true. Motivation fails when the nervous system doesn't feel safe, because motivation is not a personality trait. It's a byproduct of safety. When the body is in survival mode, its only priorities are scanning for threat, conserving energy, staying alert. In that state, the brain is not asking, what do I want to build, or what would make me happy? It's asking, am I safe right now? So when someone tries to push themselves while their nervous system is activated, the body resists, not because it's broken, but because it's intelligent. This is why motivation comes and goes. Consistency feels impossible. Goals feel heavy instead of exciting. You can't motivate a system that's bracing. Safety comes first. When safety is present, something interesting happens. Energy becomes available. Focus increases. Movement feels natural, not forced. That's why rest isn't the opposite of progress. Regulation is. Once the nervous system settles, motivation doesn't need to be manufactured. It emerges. Because the body no longer needs to protect. It's free to create. And that's the shift most people are missing. Most people think they lack motivation. But what they actually lack is safety. Motivation is not a personality trait. It's not discipline. It's not willpower. Motivation is a byproduct of a regulated nervous system. When your body feels safe, energy moves forward naturally. When it doesn't, the system prioritizes survival, not progress. And survival always overrides goals. If your nervous system perceives threat, whether that threat is stress, pressure, criticism, uncertainty, or emotional overwhelm, your body shifts into protection mode. In that state,
Your system is asking one question only. Am I safe right now? What should I work on? What do I want to build? What's my purpose? Those questions require excess energy, and survival mode has none to spare. This is why forcing motivation often backfires. You try to push harder, set stricter routines, add pressure, add urgency. But pressure is interpreted by the nervous system as more threat. So instead of moving forward, the body responds with procrastination, exhaustion, numbness, distraction, shut down. Not because you're lazy, but because your system is conserving energy. Motivation disappears not when you're uncommitted, but when your body doesn't trust the environment it's in. And here's the key most people miss. Safety creates momentum. When your nervous system feels safe, focus increases, curiosity returns, creativity turns back on, action becomes effortless. You don't need to hype yourself up. You don't need to force consistency. Movement happens organically. This is why rest doesn't always fix burnout, because rest without safety is just pausing in threat. True recovery happens when the body receives signals like, I'm not being chased, I'm not behind, I'm allowed to move at my pace. There is no punishment for being here. Once those signals land, motivation doesn't need to be manufactured. It emerges. So if you feel stuck, unmotivated, or frozen, don't ask what's wrong with me. Ask, what doesn't feel safe yet? Because when safety is restored, forward motion takes care of itself.
Most people think they're stuck because they don't have enough confidence. That's not true. They're stuck because their nervous system doesn't feel safe moving yet. Confidence is not a requirement for action. Safety is. Think about it. Have you ever moved forward without confidence? You've gotten out of bed on hard days. You've shown up when you were unsure. You've handled situations you didn't feel ready for. Confidence came after, not before. What actually moves you forward is permission. Permission from your body. When your nervous system senses danger, it doesn't care how motivated you are. It doesn't care about vision boards, affirmations, or goals. It's only asking one question. Is it safe to take this step? If the answer is no, the body applies the brakes. That's when you see procrastination, overthinking, freezing, pulling back at the last moment. Not because you're weak, not because you're lazy, but because safety hasn't been established yet. Confidence is a byproduct of safety. When your body feels supported, regulated, and resourced, movement happens naturally, quietly, without hype, without force. You don't need to believe in yourself. You don't need to feel fearless. You don't need certainty. You need enough safety to take the next small step. That's it. Not the whole plan, not the big leap, just the next step your nervous system can tolerate. And when you do that, when you move from regulation instead of pressure, confidence starts to show up on its own. Not loud, not performative, just steady. So if you're waiting to feel confident before you move, stop waiting. Create safety first. The movement will follow.
Regulation doesn't feel like happiness. It doesn't feel like bliss. And it definitely doesn't feel like being high vibe. Regulation feels uneventful. There's no emotional fireworks, no rush, no sense that something important just happened. And that's usually how people miss it.
When your nervous system is regulated, nothing is demanding your attention. Your body isn't scanning, your mind isn't bracing. You're not trying to fix, improve, or escape the moment. You're just here. Thoughts still show up, but they don't hook you. Sensations still happen, but they don't mean danger. Emotions can pass through without becoming a story. There's no urgency to change how you feel. Regulation often feels neutral, sometimes even boring. And if you've lived in survival mode for a long time, that neutrality can feel unfamiliar or even wrong. Your system might say, shouldn't I be doing something? Shouldn't I feel more? Is this numbness? But numbness is absence. Regulation is presence without alarm. You can think clearly, but you don't need to. You can move, but you're not compelled to. You can rest without collapsing. There's a quiet sense of enoughness. No pushing forward, no pulling back, just a stable baseline where your body trusts that this moment isn't a threat. And here's the part most people don't expect. Regulation doesn't feel like the destination. It feels like the starting point. From here, creativity returns, connection becomes easier, energy moves naturally, not forced. If you're waiting to feel peace or bliss before you believe you're regulated, you'll keep missing the signal. Regulation isn't an emotional peak. It's the absence of internal resistance. It's when nothing inside you is asking for immediate change. And that's when real healing actually begins.